Hey everybody, how are you doing? So I'm just watching the world go around, at least parts of it. I just want to talk about a few things that are just crazy to me. Let's start about the this swap that Joseph did between Russia and ourselves, which there's news coming out that the Prince of Saudi Arabia called in a favor to Russia to actually have Brittany Griner released and the Sultan of Death, um, this arms dealer, released back to Russia. I'm not a big basketball fan. I'm not a big sports fan. I like soccer and rugby. I'll watch NFL for the Super Bowl or if somebody invites me just to watch the game. I don't keep up with sports, so I can't say too much about Brittany Griner other than I know that she's a lesbian and she's a basketball player, that she sounds like a dude. Um, and I'm not hating her, she just sounds like a dude, right? So, like, the first time I saw her, I was like, no way, that ain't no girl, man. That's a dude. But more than likely, that just comes from her being so freaking tall, right? But I've watched, listened to, read enough to know that really what Brittany Griner has going for her is she can dunk, right? She's a girl that can dunk really well and has been noticed by a lot of different people, including Shaquille O'Neal. But, like, it just doesn't make sense to me, right? Like, how is it that she's been going to Russia to play basketball for a while, right? Like, did you just forget that it was illegal for you to take marijuana there? I mean, come on. You're playing basketball, it's a sport. So you've got to know something about what you're not supposed to do and what you're supposed to do. Come on, you can't be stupid. There's no way. She's not stupid. I refuse to believe that. Maybe she's just retarded. I don't know. And I mean retarded in the absolute way, slow. But I'm watching this, and she has been released not by Joseph, who is also retarded, very retarded. Remember, i.e., very slow, not stupid, just retarded. But I guess if you watch Forrest Gump, stupid is as stupid does, right? So Joseph had very little to do with this. He's literally a puppet, like most of these presidents and government officials. I would really love to know the inner workings of it. I really would, so that I can really understand, right? But they release Brittany for this arms dealer. As a matter of fact, let me just pull him up so that I'm calling his name correctly. Um, Russian arms dealer. Here we go. Victor Bout, known as the Merchant of Death. Okay, so I got the name right. Known to have targeted and killed Americans with weapons of warfare. A highly dangerous man. The Prince of Arabia or whatnot is allegedly made the deal, not Joseph, not America. However, America is just so entrenched in these things because of the raw and nefarious leaders that we have in power. And not and I will say this. I do believe that it's both sides. I think that there's nefarious leaders on both sides. But then after Joseph is praised for the release of Brittany, this 7-foot tall woman who sounds like a dude who's married to a woman and got caught with marijuana in Russia and was sentenced for 9 years, only served what, about 4? He makes this announcement that he's going to he really wants gun control to really take place in America, and he releases one of the most dangerous arms dealers in history that wants to kill Americans with weapons of warfare, all weapons of warfare. What sense does that make? It doesn't make any sense. Any good sense. I'll say it like that. You know, I'll listen sometimes to these senators and governors and mayors, predominantly who are Democrat led, or the Democratic Party, say we're doing great, we're doing great, we're doing great, and you look around, and it's, you're doing what? You're doing great? Have you looked around lately and seen how horrific your leadership is? But it makes me wonder. It makes me really wonder that maybe they are telling the truth, that they are doing really great, that their greatness is based on a plan of ideology led by the Democratic Party. Maybe they are doing really great for their nefarious plans. And I would say the same thing if it was a Republican-sided issue too. That maybe they were doing great because of their nefarious plans, but that is not the case as I know it right now. But here's the other thing too, right? So here in California, man. So I'm from Alaska, born and raised. On the playground is where I spent most of my days. For those Prince of Bel-Air fans out there. I remember only seeing California from the perspective of movies or TV shows, right? And I thought, man, that's a place I want to go. I really want to go there. And I never knew how I was going to get there, right? Until I went to college in Oakland. And I got to see some of these places that I dreamed about going to when I was watching movies or TV shows. One of those places was Hollywood in the Walk of Fame. And it's so dirty in Hollywood. It is horrifically dirty. It's even more dirty now than when I was in college in early 2000. It's nasty there. I mean, I can't tell you any lie about it. It's nasty. They clean up everything to make it look beautiful and gorgeous when they're filming a TV show or a movie or a commercial. But honestly, it is nasty. You know, there's this place called Cesar Chavez Park in the Berkeley at the Berkeley Marina. I used to go to and fly kites a lot when I was younger, and a lot of people would go there to fly kites, and there's people that still go fly kites there now. But when I came back to California, I remember seeing these tent cities popping up. And then you just say that even in Alaska, those things were happening, right? I don't have a problem so much with people who are homeless popping their tent up and having shelter and a place to be. I don't have a problem with that. Matter of fact, I'll tell you a quick story. When I was in Alaska, working as a case manager for folks who had physical and mental disabilities that were homeless and all this, and the third, I was very well acquainted there with the homeless population. And I remember one time they were out protesting. It was the Wall Street situation. What was that called? Oh gosh, man. I'm forgetting what it was called. Anyway, it'll come back to me at some point during this. They're protesting, and I'm talking to a group of folks. You know, I don't have a problem just talking to people. It's a gift, right? And I said, you know, people generally wouldn't have a problem with you being here if you would clean your mess up. If you would clean up after yourself, a lot of people wouldn't have an issue with you. But because your behavior shows that you can't maintain yourself or the surroundings that you come to, they don't want you here. And quite honestly, I wouldn't want you here either. That's just the truth, right? Like, who in the world would want somebody in their backyard, in front of their business, or wherever, right, that you shouldn't be doing this, defecating, pissing, drug using, and just doing foul things, right? Who in the world is like, man, that's just fine. I mean, I've actually, now I'm thinking about it, I've ran into some of those people. Well, you know, they're just homeless and they just, you know, they're just down and out, and, you know, it's totally, that's just what they do. It's like, no, 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 no. Absolutely not. Like, that is ludicrous. It is absolutely ludicrous to say that unhealthy, nefarious, in some cases, behavior and dangerous to not only themselves, but the neighborhoods, the children, the families, the businesses, and every other person around, even themselves, right? Um, that is not okay. That should not be normalized, right? It should not be. Like, this whole idea of housing, right? Occupy Wall Street, that's what it is. Occupy Wall Street. Anyway, I was talking to a friend one day, um, and I'm totally kind of on a rabbit trail, but I think that's okay. Um, we were talking about housing and getting the homeless housing. I said, I don't believe that we should just give the homeless housing. I do not believe that. Working in the field for a long time and growing up in the field, working in mental health and with the homeless, I do not believe that that should happen. And he kind of stood back. He's like, what? So, yeah, no, I don't believe that. I said, why would we do that? Why would we give housing to a person that doesn't know how to take care of the housing? Yeah, and he kind of started getting a little like upset. And I said, "Well, wait a minute, let's talk about this because I want to hear your side too. That's I want to hear. I think we need to hear both sides in order to work together, whether we like it or not." I said, "We ought to give people tools that are necessary for their success, but if they want housing, if they want to become greater than their situation, meaning that they can have pride in themselves and then reach back to help others in their situation. Maybe that's drug addiction, maybe that is being a violator, like a pimp, or being the violated, a prostitute, or a drug addict, or a drug dealer, or whatever. I think we ought to say, listen, you need to take these steps. We're going to give you tools for each step. And when you get to this step, let's say like step 1 through 5, once you get to step 5, and we've given you every tool necessary for every step, we're going to make sure that we have invested into you every step so that when you have housing, when there's housing, you're ready for that housing. And you have left behind the behavior and those that also were involved in that behavior behind you. And you actually reject that behavior so that the behavior that you have learned for success is the behavior that takes you forward. My friend said, "Oh, I never really thought of it like that." And I get it. We don't. There's things we don't think about. There's things I don't think about, and that is okay. That should be okay. But we have to talk about these things. We have to talk about these things, and whether we like them or not. I believe that we should talk about them uh, and be able to listen. I tell people I'm not concerned. You ain't gonna hurt my feelings. Even if you hurt my feelings, I want to know what you got to say about this. Now, Stop that rant. Brittany Griner, Joseph, the arms dealer, and telling people that well, I'm gonna take your Second Amendment right away, or I'm going to, you know, just tighten up all the gun laws and this, that, and the third. This is so hypocritical. It is so hypocritical. It's just, it's just so bad. Like where I'm at, and this doesn't have anything to do necessarily with the arms dealer and Joseph's craziness. Well, it has a little bit to do with Joseph's craziness. When you have a leader that is leading, however good or however bad, those who are following that are with that leader are going to act the same way as the leader does. That's just it's just human nature, I think, right? But where I'm at and where a lot of people are, um, people have been emboldened to steal. Like like it's just a natural thing to just steal and to do evil things. It's just natural to do those things now. And and I think that our legislature, our government, those who are making these policies and signing them into law are allowing for criminals to do what they are doing. Like here in California, there's a Senate Bill 47. Let me see if I can remember the essence of it right. So basically, these thugs and vagrants can go and steal up to $950, and it only is a misdemeanor, right? Up to $950, and they've got it set up so that if you're in jail, right, and your crime was equal to lesser than $950, you get out early. If it's more than that, you stay. But they've got it so that they've given the criminal a loophole to crime, to committing crime in their not their culture, their communities where they're from, as well as going to other communities and doing the same thing. Like, for instance, just the other day, some thugs came at 6:15 a.m. This is where they like to do like 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning is when they're most active because they ain't got nothing else to do but be losers. Um, he came up on my porch and stole my bike. I got a problem. The bike is the principal. I'm married. I got a family. I'm a protector. So these thugs got pretty close to my family. Pissed. And so any thugs that I see coming up on this porch. I don't care who you are, man, woman, child, I do not care. That is all of your backside. Like, when I say I am a protector, that means like when you hear you don't mess with a mama bear, right? And her cubs, you don't mess with my family. You just don't. And I hope and wish and pray that other men in particular will stand up and protect their families in such a way that criminals know that they are not to come and mess with their communities. They are not to come and mess with their families. They are not to come at all. Because if they do, men have something for them. And apart from the criminal, that men would stand and teach their sons how to do the same as men. Not know, well, in between, I'm just feel like I am. Man, your kids are in a place where they're confused already. Hormones going all over the place, and the culture's telling them one thing. And you got parents, you got to get out this lie about the culture's just telling us, well, that's their culture. Our kids belong to the culture. No, they don't. You better yank your kids up out the culture. The culture is against you right now. The culture and the essence of the culture, there is a demonic force in the culture that hates you as a parent. You better get your kids, dads, better get your kids. Now, that's but then too, for the young ladies as well. For the young ladies as well. To be nurturers, we must fulfill our primary roles as men as protector and women as nurturers. That doesn't mean that women are not protectors at some rate and men are not nurturers to some rate, but it does mean that we do have some solid roles that we fulfill. And when we do not fulfill those roles and we choose to go in a different direction other than those God-given roles, chaos ensues. Look around. Tell me I'm wrong. And there's just like, fathers, teach your sons to be protectors. More and more women are technically crying out for men to stand up and say, hey, men, stand up. Help us. So, looping back around to this Brittany Griner thing right quick. I'm about to be done. It don't make no sense. If you look at that, you realize to some degree that the action to give away an arms dealer who is dangerous tells us all we need to know about this president and his leadership, that they do not mind giving us over to the enemy. They don't mind doing that. And their nefarious acts are on purpose. But all the while they're telling us, it's okay, everything's great. But who are they telling that to? That is the question. Who are they telling that everything is great? If you believe that, you, my friends, are deceived. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let's have these conversations. We need to come to a place where we can figure this out together. We may not agree, but we need to be able at least to come and say, what is the truth? What is the truth? The capital T truth. And then stand up, walk away from the table, being able to respect one another and say, you're going to go your way as you are led ideologically. And that's fine. But there is something happening with us both in America. And we need to be able to stand together. That's what America was founded on. I am not only an individual, I am a part of the whole. And as the whole in America, we are for freedom. Freedom is not free. It is worked for. This is what the men and women have done for over a century to go and fight for our freedom. We must also do the same on our homeland, but not fight against one another. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you again, hopefully sooner than later.